Let me introduce you to Mimmel, the man in the middle. Mimmel is a chef. You can tell by his white chef's hat. Mimmel used to have a much larger hat. This one is his smaller one. It's his Minnesota chef's hat. Mimmel's a happy guy because his eye is in Iowa. He's been eating a lot of his own cooking and his belly has gotten big. He's pretty sad about it. He's actually miserable about his big belly. There's misery in his big belly. Mimmel wears blue jeans and he carries two things in his pocket, an arc and a saw. There's an arc and saw in his pocket. He wears large boots from Louisiana large boots. So here's Mimmel. If you have trouble remembering his name, you can also remember that the states that make up his body also spell out his name. M, Minnesota chef's hat. I, Iowa. M, Missouri in his belly. Arc and saw, A, in his pocket. And L, Louisiana large boot. Remember, Mimmel's a chef, and he always carries his frying pan. It's a 10-pound frying pan. It's a Tennessee 10-pound frying pan. In his Tennessee frying pan, he's cooking up a Kentucky fried chicken leg. Mimmel doesn't just make bone-in Kentucky fried chicken. He makes nuggets, too. He makes wavy nuggets. WV, West Virginia wavy nuggets, are connected to his Kentucky fried chicken leg. Mimmel actually prefers to cook fresh chicken, especially ones that come from the Great Lakes area. Mimmel blows his whistle. His whistle, Wisconsin, Illinois. He blows his whistle in Indiana, Ohio. He blows his whistle in Ohio. And it scared off this giant chicken who flew away over the Great Lakes saying, don't eat Michigan. Mimmel blew his Wisconsin, Illinois whistle in Ohio, and the chicken said, don't eat Michigan. Well, all the other chickens on the East Coast don't want to end up in Mimmel's frying pan either. So they all try to run away from him. Up north, there's a green chicken. I know it looks like a lion, just look at that mane. But that's just a chicken in disguise. You can still see his green feathered behind in New York. He knew he couldn't leave his green feathered behind in New York, so he bought a costume. His mane, of course, and a jersey or a blanket. On his blanket is a very new ham. Very Vermont, New Ham, New Hampshire. It was a cheap disguise. It only cost 1 penny. There's the price tag, 1 penny, in Pennsylvania. And he was flying away from Mimmel's frying pan. He spit out the big piece of gum he was chewing. It fell down on 2 separate states. And now his pink massive chew sits and Connecticut's Rhode Island. There's his massive chew sits, Connecticuting Rhode Island. The purple chicken, Mrs. Alla Georgia, she wasn't so lucky. Mimmel caught her by the tail and laid his Tennessee frying pan right across her back. He said, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, I'm going to take your Florida wings and your North and South Carolina parts and Kentucky, fry them. And since your head is actually in Virginia, I'm going to make West Virginia wavy nuggets from you. All that was on Mrs. Alla Georgia's mind, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia's mind, was trying to escape to a Maryland. You can see that she was thinking about Maryland, where it's always the colors of Christmas. That was on her mind. But suddenly she was aware, Delaware, of the green chicken who had escaped. See, her thoughts of Maryland are interrupted by being Delaware of her friend. She thought of the green chicken who was still wearing his very new ham jersey blanket. And her last words in her speech bubble, you can see them here. She said, "Green chicken, you need a new jersey." Well, on the West Coast, people don't chase chickens. Actually, Mimel lost almost all of his West Coast friends over this. They all turned their backs on him and walked away. Mimel's orange friend, he said, "Mimel, I'm taking my arrow and I'm gone." Orange is gone, Oregon. Washington, she just smiled with her bar of soap and said, "I'm going to wash, Washington, my hands of you, Mimel." Montana, he just got mad. He turned bright red and turned his back on Mimel. Mad Montana is mad at Mimel. Well, Idaho, she's not really sure what to think. She just shrugs her shoulders and says, "When it comes to Mimel, I don't know." Mimel's longest friend, Cal, he's actually pro-chicken chasing. He called Mimel and said, "Cal is for ya, but I'm going to the beach in California." No, Zona, the hedgehog, little Arizona, you can see in her speech bubble, she says, "I will never eat fried chicken. I will Nevada eat fried chicken." Little Arizona, who will Nevada eat fried chicken, tried to make Mimel see her poultry-friendly ways. She even made signs to let Mimel know that he could stop his chicken eating. She held one sign that said, "Utah can change your ways, Mimel. Utah can change." But Mimel's eye was in Iowa, so he could only see the big U in her Utah sign. Well, since that didn't seem to have any effect, she made another one. This one was just colorful. It was Colorado. But the Utah change and the Colorado signs that little Arizona the hedgehog made, they didn't really have any effect. So she called up her friends up in the north, Oregon, Washington, with her soap, I don't know Idaho, and Mad Montana. And they said, "Let's call up our friend, Texas Tom, and ask him to join us." Texas Tom, with his cowboy hat, just said, "I'll just pull out my gun. Guns are okay in Oklahoma. I'll take my Oklahoma gun and I'll just shoot Mimel all the way into New Mexico. There's the flag. It's just like Mexico, but it's new. And after I shoot him, Arizona, you can take your You Can Change flag and the colorful one, and we'll just wrap it around him in New Mexico and be done with the whole thing." Well, little Arizona, she said, "I don't care if Montana is mad, and I don't know Idaho, and I'm gone Oregon, and I'm washing my hands of you Washington. If they don't know why Wyoming he's doing this, but I think we should do something else." So these friends all decided that they would build a wall. They would build a wall to just separate themselves between Mimel, where the Mississippi River runs along his back. And they said, "Fine, let's try and build a wall. First, we'll build them out of cans. We'll put cans and cans and cans in Kansas." But they made them out of aluminum cans, and so it fell down. So they replaced them with new brass cans. New brass cans. But those rusted and fell down. So finally they said, "Let's build a wall out of coats in the South. South Dakota wall. Well, that worked great. So they decided, let's build a North Dakota wall. And there you have the 50 states. God bless America.